Hi everyone, basically going to be filming this fly here. This obviously going to be tying it as well. What it is just a quilled olive jig, or French, some people call it French nymph type flies, with a small copper head, in this case in tungsten, tied in a jig hook. Now this is a CDC Hackle, a bit of flash near the top. I'm just looking there, if you can see all the colours of this flash. These are some of the patterns I've been fishing throughout the season, and I'm filling a box at the moment. So I'm putting in basically the favourite bugs, and they're very good for the grayling. This one especially for nymphs. It looks quite sort of heavy dressed. I mean, quite a lot on it. But the CDC feather really is fine. When this is in the water, you'll see more of the nymph shape, and it sits, when it's in the water, it sits up like this. And you can fish it without weight as well as obviously on this style with the jig head. You can see I'm using a copper bead. This is a 2.4mm. This is a fully mill. It's just very the slotted beads, and you can use whatever one you like. Just a normal bead. This one, slot it so it sits a wee bit better on the hook, but you can use a basic one if you want. Main two sizes. I actually go for like a 16, 14, right down to a size 20, but I miss out a few. I don't have every size. I just have one large, one small, one heavy, that type of thing. It just depends on the water I'm fishing, and a basic weight and size. This is a good size for quite a lot of the nymphs. I've tied one or two, but I keep getting asked to tie them, so I thought, well, I'm tying the fly, so as well filming them. Like you see, there is different tying methods within the fly. So, but anyway, what I'm going to do here, obviously you can see I put the bead on. The hook I'm using is this one from Fully Mill. They have a few hooks. This is a 3.5. There's a 5.045, which is, I can't remember what the difference is. Slightly heavier, I'm not sure. I think it's probably just the style slightly, but I like using them both. I believe it or not, I actually landed a salmon on this hook, so it's a good strong hook. It really does. I mean, it's not a heavy wire, but it certainly it stands up to a lot of abuse. Even though, I mean, I'll show you. I think the fly here, this fly. I'm going to show you the actual fly I caught the salmon on. Here it's here. Now, if you look close, I actually bent this back in, and I actually hooked a stone and it opened out, and I bent it back, and then I hooked a bush, and I bent it out and bent it back, and then I hooked a salmon as well as trout, and it's still fine. I just bent it back using my teeth, which I wouldn't recommend, but but anyway, you can see it's a similar sized bead. It's the same setup. It's a good pattern, and I do have that one on YouTube, so you will find it there. Now what I'm going to do here is just get the thread on. Now the thread I'm using, should actually show you the thread. It's just basically the Olive Done Uni Thread 80. I've waxed the thread. Now I'm going to put a tail on this. I'm going to use some Coq de Leon fibres. Now this is a one from Whiting. This is it's a ginger, it's a fiery ginger Coq de Leon. It's a lovely colour. If you can get a hold of some of these, they're worth putting in your fly. But if you haven't got them, just use whatever you have. It can be olive, it can be brown, they will work. Or just even use the very popular sort of medium Pardo type colour. So bring the fibre out, you'll see the tips will line up. Tail length, don't be shy. What I like to do is just catch it on the top, holding the tail, come underneath with a turn like I would do a dry fly. And I want to spread the fibres slightly, 2 or 3 turns on top. Now the reason I like to do that is fan them out. It gives them a wee bit extra movement. So then what I'm going to do is trim this the length of the body, which is there. Now there's no ribbon in this fly. Now I'm actually running out. I've only got 3 strands left, or 4 anyway. This is basically dyed yellow Peacock. Now this is just before the eye. The Peacock eye, there's There's wee short fibres, but you can use into the peacock eye where you get a wee bit of Herl. But if I tear one off, you'll see it gives you a nice... The fiber's on one side, you see, and one side doesn't have any fibre. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim it, tie it in just slightly at the taper here. Now you want to tie it in with the Herl at the bottom. So when you bring this over, the leading edge will be the Herl itself. So when you build up the body a wee bit, you can use the thread, or you could even use floss. But I'm going to just go up and come back down, so I taper in the fly. Just go up and down. It's a wee bit of waste of the thread, but if you've got a wee bit of floss, just put it on. The underbody colour can be changed. It could be yellow, it could be whatever, it could even be pearl underneath, which works. Now what I'm going to do here is actually going to wind this over. Because there's no protection, I'm going to put some fine super glue onto the body. So when I'm winding it up, now you'll see as I wind up, you'll see the leading edge is the Herl. That gives, and you just space it out, you'll see the quill showing through. You get a lovely blend, you get the fine Herl, which gives the impression of gills. They have a pulsating gill on the body, especially in olives and such like that. That will give that impression. So secure that in and break it off. Now I would recommend you just basically allow that a second or two, just to allow the glue to set, and before you put your fingers near it, because you don't want to stick the Herl down. So what times I can do, I'll just do is just finish off and set it on my desk and tie maybe half a dozen, and then go back to the first one, and by that time they should be certainly dry, and because the super glue dries quick. But we'll motor on. Now what I've got, when I'm using, I've got some dyed olive CDC feathers, and I use it a lot for dubbing, like that fly I showed you at the beginning, which has got a dub body mix with the, and that's what I was tying with this CDC, which I've dyed olive. Now I keep the tips for hackles. You never throw them away. So I'm just going to tear off some of the fibre I don't need. Now you could use anything or just leave it. The dubbing at the front is enough. It still work without the hackle. But if you've got these, use them up. It just kicks the fly, it makes it move a wee bit better. So I located the tip of the feather, trim it so I can at least get enough to tie it on. Just catch that on, 2 or 3 turns, just wax your thread, make sure you get plenty of grip, and bring your thread basically up towards the body, making sure you want to have a nice hackle there. You want a couple of turns at least, which you'll get with that. And then just wind down, just draw back the fibre, or wind one turn in front of the other. Now the stems of the CDC they're usually really strong. I usually use this up. And don't be shy with the length of the fibre. Make sure that's secure, and then we trim that away. You can see there, you got a nice spider-like fibre, and I mean even that's a good enough fly in itself, without any dubbing. Now the dubbing I'm using, this is basically it's a kind of modern type dubbing. It's called Tactical Microflash dub. It's called olive brown, but hopefully you can see the colour there. It's got UV blue, it's got kind of base like gold, it's got olive, green. It's a lovely blend of colour. So what I'm going to do is take some of this. Now you can blend this into a bit of dubbing. That's certainly worth doing, because it will help it a wee bit, it'll make it last a wee bit. Or even could bit CDC through it. But I'm going to use it raw. Just going to use it as it is. Just slide it up. Now you can lightly draw back these fibres and just build up a wee thorax with the dubbing. Just going to tighten up a wee bit. Don't be shy with the dubbing, just make sure it's well on. Now as you get to this point here, now sometimes I like to take away with the excess. Make sure it's on. I start to dub with it, sorry, whip finishing with it. 1, 2, so some of the dubbing's in. And then on the piece of thread that's actually on the hook, I'm going to put some varnish on that. And this will basically, as I wind it on again, I'm going to do another 2 or 3 turns with the whip finish. So 1, 2, 3, and then I pull that into the, basically the dubbing as well as the knot at the front. Now make sure you tighten that. It actually clicked there as I pulled it. So basically you pull it, make sure it's nice and tight, and then you can trim away. Now I'm just going to use a hairdryer here just to show you the movement in the fly. So I've got the hairdryer, and it'll push it in a wee bit, but as well you can actually bring out a wee touch of the dubbing. But what I like to do is get my Velcro and then just catch the dubbing at the front and I brush towards the eye, just lightly, just grabbing 1 or 2 of these fibres. And it'll blend into the dressing. So then I blow it. And you can see the movement. It's a very soft fibre, and you can see how long it is. Don't worry about the length. That blends into the fly. You can see that nice shape now. And that's the type of shape you will get in pulsating shape in the water, which gives it a lot of life. And you cast this, and while it's dropping and it's moving, the fish are really attracted to it and they will grab. The colour blend works really well. It's a nice body. That body can be then, you can use that body, change the dubbing, you can do lots of things with it. You can have different colours. But as you can see, it works really well. It's a nice wee nymph. So anyway, there we are. I hope you enjoyed that. And again, add that to your box. And remember, when I usually just build up these flies, just slowly. I'm going to actually, what I do is I go through a lot of the flies that I catch on, and I just keep, this is a box I'm actually doing for the monthly draw. So I'll fill this up with all the different types of flies that, especially over the year and over the years I've actually tied these flies, Ian, somebody will be able to give them a cast, give them a go. As I say, I go from the small 20 to the 14, that type. I go big jump. I don't go so much in between. These are the main sizes. The only other thing I would probably do is go for a depth charge, as I call them. It's a smooth bodied version with a bigger bead that drops like a stone. Terrible things to cast, but they're worth having in fast water, and they do catch. So anyway, there you go. That's the type of fly. So I hope you enjoyed that, and again, thanks for watching.